If you recognize these 9 behaviors, you're dealing with someone who has severe narcissistic tendencies. Narcissism exists on a spectrum, ranging from a healthy level of self-confidence to more severe, disruptive tendencies that can impact relationships and daily life. While most of us might show mild signs of narcissism from time to time, like enjoying a bit of praise or wanting to stand out in certain situations, people on the extreme end of this spectrum exhibit behaviors that go far beyond occasional self-interest. When narcissistic tendencies reach this level, they often reveal a pattern of behaviors that can make relationships challenging and emotionally draining. In this video, we'll explore some of the key signs that indicate when someone may be leaning toward the severe end of the narcissistic spectrum. Recognizing these signs can help you navigate interactions more effectively and protect your own well-being when dealing with highly narcissistic personalities. Let's dive in. 1. Me mentality. Let's start with the most glaring sign: an excessive focus on self. Narcissistic individuals are notorious for their self-centeredness. They perceive themselves as the sun, and everyone else merely orbits around them. This behavior is often displayed in conversations, where they have a tendency to steer the discussion back to themselves, their achievements, their problems, or their interests. It's not that they're uninterested in you or your life. It's just that in their worldview, they always take center stage. Of course, everyone likes to share about themselves, but with narcissists, it's a constant one-sided affair. This brings me to the next point. 2. Grandiose sense of self-importance. Narcissists have an inflated view of their importance, often believing they are superior to others. They might exaggerate their achievements, expecting others to recognize them as superior without any basis in reality. This behavior goes beyond a healthy self-confidence, crossing over into the realm of delusion. In fact, according to research by the National Institutes of Health, grandiosity is so prevalent in narcissistic individuals that it's actually a critical factor in diagnosing narcissistic personality disorder. So if you encounter someone who constantly overestimates their abilities and underestimates yours, you might be dealing with a narcissist. 3. Constant need for admiration. Obviously, because they have a sense of grandiosity and a me mentality, narcissists crave admiration like plants crave sunlight. They thrive on the attention and praise of others, and often go to great lengths to secure it. For someone with strong narcissistic tendencies, admiration is a form of fuel. They might frequently fish for compliments, exaggerate their achievements, or bring conversations back to themselves to ensure they're the focus. And when they don't receive the recognition they believe they're entitled to, you'll likely notice their frustration or even anger surfacing. Over time, this insatiable hunger for admiration can create an exhausting dynamic, leaving others feeling drained, sidelined, and unappreciated. 4. Lack of empathy. Another prevalent behavior in narcissists is their apparent lack of empathy. Studies show that they do recognize and understand other people's feelings, but they may still not feel them themselves. Let me share a personal example. I once had a friend who would constantly belittle my problems, comparing them to her own bigger issues. He would dismiss my concerns, making me feel insignificant and unheard. Over time, I realized this lack of empathy was a clear sign of her narcissistic tendencies. It wasn't just about her inability to relate to my feelings. It was about her complete disinterest in anything that didn't directly affect her. Understanding and acknowledging others' feelings is a basic aspect of human interaction. If you notice someone regularly dismissing or invalidating your emotions, it could be a sign that you're dealing with a narcissist. 5. Exploitative behavior. Not only do narcissists lack empathy, but they actually often use people around them to achieve their own ends. This exploitative behavior may not be immediately noticeable, but it's a classic sign of someone with severe narcissistic tendencies. They may be charming and charismatic to get what they want, but it's rarely a two-way street. The needs and well-being of others are often pushed aside or completely ignored. It could be as subtle as taking credit for other people's work, or as blatant asthma, manipulating someone for personal gain, and they do it without any remorse. Over time, their pattern of using others can become glaringly clear, leaving those around them feeling taken advantage of and emotionally drained. 6. Lack of genuine relationships. One of the saddest aspects of severe narcissism is the lack of deep, meaningful relationships. Narcissists often struggle to form genuine connections with others, mostly due to their self-centeredness and lack of empathy. They see relationships more as transactions where they are to gain, rather than mutual exchanges of love and care. They might have plenty of acquaintances who are drawn to their charisma, but very few close friends who they truly connect with. And often, those close relationships are fraught with tension and one-sidedness. If someone in your life seems to have a pattern of shallow, exploitative relationships, it's a heart-wrenching sign that you might be dealing with a narcissist. 7. Insensitivity to criticism. What would happen if you gave a narcissist some criticism? Well, no matter how constructive or well-intentioned it is, they won't take it lightly. They would react with anger or defensiveness. I remember working on a group project with a colleague who couldn't handle any form of feedback. Whenever we tried to suggest improvements, he would react with hostility, blaming others, and refusing to accept any responsibility for the flaws in his work. His inability to accept criticism was not just challenging in a professional setting, it also revealed a deeper issue. It was one of the signs that led me to realize I was dealing with someone with severe narcissistic tendencies. 8. Excessive entitlement. Driven by their grandiose self-image, narcissists often carry an inflated sense of entitlement. As author Mark Manson puts it, narcissism is a chronic state of entitlement. They believe they deserve special treatment and that the world should revolve around their needs and desires. This can manifest in various ways, such as expecting preferential treatment at work or in social situations, getting upset when they don't receive special favors, taking advantage of others to satisfy their own needs. In the end, their entitlement often erodes relationships as others become weary of constantly bending to their demands. For those around them, it can feel like walking on eggshells, never quite sure when another expectation will disrupt the balance. 9. Inability to take responsibility. Lastly, if you're expecting a person with severe narcissistic tendencies to take responsibility for their actions, you're likely setting yourself up for disappointment. They are experts at deflecting blame, always finding someone or something else to pin their mistakes on. Whether it's a failed project at work or tension in a relationship, they'll rarely, if ever, acknowledge their role in the issue. This behavior goes beyond simple defensiveness. It's an outright denial of reality, a refusal to accept that they could be at fault. And it's incredibly frustrating for those around them, as it blocks any meaningful resolution and often leaves others feeling guilty or questioning their own actions. Understanding, not judgment. When it comes to behavior as complex as narcissism, it's important to approach it with a sense of understanding rather than judgment. When it comes to behavior as complex as narcissism, it's important to approach it with a sense of understanding rather than judgment. Recognizing the signs we've outlined isn't about labeling or demonizing individuals. Instead, it's about better understanding the dynamics at play in our relationships and interactions. It's about protecting your own well-being while extending empathy towards those who might be struggling with their own internal battles. After all, every behavior has a root cause, and often it's more complex than what meets the eye. So as you reflect on these signs and behaviors, remember to approach this topic with compassion and understanding, for yourself and for others. Which one of the points above resonated the most today? Also, if you haven't done so yet, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel to receive new videos like this in your inbox every day.